don't want to talk to you.
Exactly right. I mean, that's what she did. Well, her father's at death's door after serious surgery, blood clot and leg amputation. Her attempt, or her alleged reconciliation attempt, or the reaching out.
What's going on with Harry and Meghan? The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are back in the headlines, and this time, it's not about another streaming deal or a carefully curated Instagram post. No, this is about something far more personal, far more revealing. Behind the gilded gates of their Montecito mansion, sources say there's serious friction brewing, and it all centers around one explosive question. Should their children, Archie and Lilibet, return to Britain to reconnect with King Charles, the grandfather they've barely met? Harry's pushing hard for it. He's been campaigning relentlessly for armed police protection when he comes back to the UK, and now insiders say he's optimistic he might finally get it. But here's the twist: Meghan doesn't want to go. In fact, multiple publications in the United States are reporting that she has zero interest in ever setting foot in Britain again. She thinks Harry's naive. She thinks the royal family won't forgive them. And according to sources, the couple has been bickering behind the scenes about this very issue. So what's really happening here? Is this just a minor disagreement, or are we witnessing the early cracks in a relationship that's already under intense public scrutiny? Hi. Buckle up, because this story has layers, and we're going to unpack every single.
But first, let's go over to Los Angeles to talk to America's greatest living woman. She is our brilliant, our unbelievable royal guru, Kinsey Schofield. Hi, Kins.
Hi, Kev. I love this show today. I learned a lot about you and your pursuits as a teenage boy.
Did you like that I've got a first-class honours degree in not urinating in the street? Actually, I say that, as I said, I failed, and I keep urinating in the street. I should have studied more hardly, But there you go. Right, look, let's get to business. Let's talk about Harry and Meghan. Now, this is a very interesting story that you alerted me to. We're not going to be silly here and go, oh, divorce is in the air. It's not that. It's not that. But something has happened.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. They're getting divorced. Bye. No, seriously. Harry apparently has reason. He's got reason to be like this. He's got serious optimism that his long-running campaign to be given armed police protection, cops with guns, when he comes back to Britain, will soon be granted. The government here in Britain have launched a review into security arrangements for Harry and potentially his family when they come back to Britain. Now, if he gets those gun guards, if he gets police armed protection, he's making it clear that he wants to bring Archie and Lilibet, his kids, back to Britain to sort of reacquaint themselves with the grandfather that they've hardly ever met, King Charles.
Okay, let's pause here for a second. This is huge. Harry has been fighting this battle for years, demanding that the British government provide him with armed protection whenever he returns to the UK. He's argued that without it, his family isn't safe. And honestly, he's got a point. Whether you love him or hate him, he's still a high-profile member of the royal family, and his kids are in the line of succession. But here's where it gets complicated. The UK government has been resisting this for a long time, partly because Harry stepped back from royal duties. So why should taxpayers foot the bill for his security? But now, sources say the government is reviewing the situation. If Harry wins this battle, it could open the door for Archie and Lilibet to finally spend time with their grandfather, King Charles. And that's what Harry wants more than anything. He wants his kids to have a relationship with the royal family. But does Meghan? That's the million-dollar question. And as we're about to hear, the answer might surprise you.
So that sounds like good news. The problem, though, is, and this is being reported in America by at least one magazine, is that Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, doesn't like Britain and has let it be known that she doesn't really ever want to come back here again. So apparently there's quite a lot of friction between Harry and Meghan about Harry's plans to get the kids back to Britain. She's not keen on it. And she thinks also that Harry's being a bit naive in thinking that if he takes the kids back to Britain to see King Charles, everything, all will be forgiven.
And there it is, the heart of the problem. Meghan doesn't want to go back to Britain, period. According to multiple sources, she believes that Harry is being absolutely naive if he thinks a visit with King Charles will magically heal all the wounds. And honestly, can you blame her for being skeptical? This is the same royal family that she accused of racism in that bombshell Oprah interview. This is the same institution that, according to her, failed to protect her mental health when she was struggling. So why would she ever want to return? But here's the thing, Harry clearly feels differently. He wants his children to know their British heritage. He wants them to have a relationship with their grandfather, who, let's not forget, is battling cancer. Time is running out. So what happens when two people in a marriage want completely different things? That's what we're seeing play out here. And it's not just about a family visit. It's about identity, loyalty, and the future of their children. Tough.
So they're apparently behind the gilded gates of the Montecito mansion shared by the gruesome twosome. There is some friction about this.
Yeah, it was described as bickering behind the scenes, bickering at home. And it's not just one actually publication that's reporting this here in the States. It's multiple publications that's reporting it in the United States. And look, we just saw Prince Harry alone in Aspen, and we have a mutual friend that was on the field, Harry and I'm sure he would love to know exactly who that is so that he could cut them off. But I'm going to be careful in how I word this. But the mutual friend that was playing with him, that was playing with him on the polo field, has told me in the past that Meghan hates when he plays polo, that she's really been a Debbie Downer when it comes to his social life. And they were disappointed because all of a sudden when Harry started dating Meghan, they rarely saw Prince Harry.
Wait, what? So let me get this straight. Meghan doesn't just dislike Britain, she apparently also dislikes Harry's social life. According to Kinsey's source, Meghan has been a Debbie Downer when it comes to Harry playing polo and spending time with his friends, de Steg and Taylor. And here's the kicker. Harry's friends are apparently thrilled when Meghan isn't around because, and I quote, she's allergic to fun. Wow. That's a strong statement. Now, we have to take this with a grain of salt because it's coming from an anonymous source. But if it's true, it paints a pretty grim picture. Is Meghan controlling Harry's social life? Is she isolating him from his friends? Or is this just tabloid gossip designed to make her look bad? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe this source, or do you think it's just another attempt to villainize Meghan?
And here's an example. Harry wants to go play in Aspen. Meghan stays at home with the kids. So we're seeing Harry alone around the holidays. We're seeing him on the slopes with his friends. It's my understanding that his group of friends are thrilled when she's not around because she's allergic to fun and she doesn't like the things that they get involved in. So, that's another aspect of it. But yeah, what you're reporting is basically word for word what you said is basically word for word what we're reading here in the States, that Meghan has zero interest in setting foot in the UK again. To her, it's a lion's den, a source said. She thinks Prince Harry's absolutely naive to see it any other way. She really just does not see the value in being in the UK, although you and I know that she does see the value ultimately in flirting with the idea of returning to the UK, probably these headlines circulating, because she monetizes her connection to the British royal family. Otherwise, no one would be interested in her.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. On one hand, Meghan is reportedly saying, I never want to go back to Britain. It's a lion's den. Harry is naive for thinking otherwise. But on the other hand, she's also reportedly hinting and flirting with the idea of returning, but only if the price is right. In other words, if someone offers her enough money, she might reconsider. This is classic Meghan, according to her critics. They say she wants to have it both ways. Publicly distance herself from the royal family while privately capitalizing on her connection to them. And that's exactly what Kinsey is saying here, that Meghan monetizes her connection to the British royal family because otherwise no one would be interested in her. Harsh? Maybe. But is it true? Let's be real, Meghan's entire brand is built on being the Duchess of Sussex. Without that title, would anyone care about her lifestyle content or her Netflix shows? It's a tough question, but it's worth asking.
Yeah, that's another interesting aspect to it. Essentially, Meghan has always let it be known, I don't ever want to go back to that country, Britain. She seems to think we're a nation of racists. She seems to think half the royal family are racist. I don't know where she gets that idea from, that we're all slave drivers and we don't like her. That might be true. So she doesn't ever want to come back. But there are also reports that because she's so reluctant to do that, people might be dangling very big financial offers in front of her. In other words, she, at the same time she's saying, I don't ever want to go back to Britain, and I'm not sure it's a great idea, Harry, that you take our kids back there. I think you're being naive if you think all will be forgiven if you do that. That must be set aside the fact that apparently she's also letting it be known, well, I will go back to Britain if the price is right, if there's some kind of big financial offer on the table. To which I would say, Kinsey, by whom? What for? Who would want to give Meghan a load of money to come to Britain? I'm not quite sure what she's getting at there.
Kevin raises a great point here. Who would pay Meghan a huge sum of money just to come back to Britain? And for what? The last time she returned to the UK, it was to receive an award. And insiders say the organizers likely paid for her and Harry's flights. And then famously, she and Harry asked President Biden for a ride back to the US on Air Force One. And guess what? He said no. Can you imagine? The audacity of asking the President of the United States for a free ride home. But that's the pattern we keep seeing with Harry and Meghan. They seem to rely heavily on other people's generosity. Private jets, luxury homes, you name it. So if Meghan is waiting for someone to dangle a big financial offer in front of her to return to Britain, she might be waiting a long time. Because at this point, who would want to invest in that?
Well, I think that we saw an example of this the last time she was in Britain. You know, she only went back to receive an award. I imagine that the organizers of that event paid for her and Harry's flight out there. Remember, she asked Jill Biden and Joe Biden for a ride back, and they told her no that trip.
That's right.
So, you know, just a classic example of the Sussexes freeloading, which we've heard so much about in 2025. One of my favorite themes throughout 2025 is Harry and Meghan using other people's private jets and other people's homes. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know who would be willing to give her something like that, but I think her last visit is an example of that because she has loathed the UK since she left, but she did return previously to accept an award. And I think that those organizers helped pay to get them out there privately. And then we know that they had to stay longer than they anticipated because of the death of Queen Elizabeth. And the Sussexes asked the Bidens if they could ride home on Air Force One.
Let's shift gears and talk about what Meghan is actually doing right now. Because if you look at her schedule, it's confusing. She's supposedly producing films, she's launching businesses, she's creating Netflix content, she's potentially teaming up with the Kardashians. But here's the thing. What has she actually accomplished? Where are the results? Tina Brown, the legendary editor, once said that Harry and Meghan are constantly announcing things but never following through. And that observation has never been more accurate than it is right now. Take Meet Me at the Lake, for example. Harry and Meghan bought the rights to this romance novel years ago. They were supposed to turn it into a Netflix film. But guess what? It never happened. Not even close. And now, they've bought the rights to another romance novel called The Wedding Date, which, by the way, has almost the exact same plot. So why didn't they make the first movie? What happened? Nobody knows.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? Let's talk about Meghan generally. I mean, she seems to be particularly frenetic at the moment. As we go into 2026, I think the question about Meghan is what on earth is her life all about? What exactly is she doing? I mean, she seems to be doing a hell of a lot and yet nothing much at all. She likes to look like she's looking busy, But then you think, well, actually, what exactly is she doing there? I made a list of some of the things that she's been, or that it looks like she's doing at the moment. I mean, she's sort of in a film. She's talking about producing a film. She's still taking pictures of the back of her kids' heads. She's starred in one of the most tedious shows in TV history, which you can still endure if you tune into Netflix right now. Perhaps the most extraordinary at all, she's apparently mulling over the idea of a potential deal with the tacky Kardashians. And so on and so forth. It's like, where is the direction here? Where is the direction here? Now, this film, they've just bought the rights to a film.
I thought of you. I thought of you when I read this headline, because where is Meet Me at the Lake? Where's Meet Me at the Lake? A whole lot of announcing, very few executions. These two love a press release, don't they? Show us what you've got. Stop announcing things. Actually, Tina Brown, I can't remember how she'd put it years ago, but she'd said something about how they just are constantly announcing things, but they never follow through. And that really continues to define them into 2026.
And now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the father in the hospital. Thomas Markle, Meghan's 81-year-old father, is currently recovering from emergency blood clot surgery and a leg amputation in the Philippines. He's had 2 strokes, a heart attack, and survived an earthquake. And yet, Meghan's response to all of this, she reportedly sent him a legal letter. Not a phone call, not a visit, a legal letter. And according to sources, the letter basically said, "I will never talk to you again." Can you imagine? Your father is lying in a hospital bed, possibly dying, and instead of picking up the phone, you send him a letter through lawyers telling him you'll never reconcile. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And here's the thing, Thomas Markle hasn't even been talking to the media recently. He's been quiet for years. So what more does Meghan want from him? How long does he have to stay silent before she forgives him?
The backdrop to this is, that I think she's trying to overshadow, is the still catastrophic publicity disaster of her approach to her father, Thomas Markle's life or death drama over in the Philippines. The guy, he's 81 years old. Since she stopped talking to him more than 7 years ago, he's had 2 strokes, a heart attack, survived a earthquake, and a couple of weeks ago we learned he'd had emergency blood clot surgery, which then required the amputation of his leg. Well, we essentially know the story, that first of all she said she tried to send an email, didn't bounce back. She assumed it.
Desperately called around the hospital.
And then phoning around the hospitals. If you believe that, I've got some swampland to sell you in Florida. Absolutely unbelievable. But the upshot of this story, which is extraordinary, that her contact with her father in his hour of need, when he's in distress, potentially about to die, doctors said that he might not make it. The upshot of this is that Meghan's contact with him was to essentially send him a legal letter.
Multiple.
What amounted
he had to sign multiple legal letters to get a hold of a breakup letter.
And what she said to him in this letter, this reconciliation allegedly, was, "I can't talk to you because you talk to the press." I mean, that was it.
We only know that because someone from Meghan's team told the press.
Yeah, I mean, but doesn't she? I think she's so terrible at publicity, at PR, that I don't think she realises quite what a dark cloud that has cast on her image forevermore. People aren't going to forget this. I mean, Thomas Markle, Senior, 81 years old, he's still languishing in a Philippines hospital, and we're all saying, well, couldn't you pick up the damn phone? He hasn't changed his phone number since she was talking to him, so she could ring him. I mean, come on.
I think that she looks incredibly selfish in this scenario, and if you and I looked at a timeline, we can state factually that Thomas Markle Sr., aside from doing interviews about himself, because he did do an interview when he was in a Philippines earthquake to say, I'm here, I survived. People were worried about him. He's very high up in his apartment complex in the Philippines. I think if we looked at a timeline, we could confidently say that Thomas Markle hasn't done any media surrounding his daughter in years. What's it going to take? You know, and then if people are going to go, well, what about the interview he gave from his hospital bed? I'm sorry, but that's a man afraid that he's about to die.
Exactly.
Reaching out to his daughter.
Yeah,
desperately reaching out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I don't care what he's doing, what alleged crime he's supposed to have committed in Meghan's mind. Your dad,
but I'm just saying,
your dad could be dying. Pick up the damn phone.
Let that sink in for a moment. Meghan's excuse for not talking to her father is that he talked to the press. But guess what? The only reason we know about this letter is because someone from Meghan's team leaked it to the press. The hypocrisy is staggering. The hypocrisy is staggering. And as Kinsey points out, Thomas Markle hasn't done a media interview about Meghan in years. The only time he spoke recently was from his hospital bed, when he was terrified he might die and desperately reaching out to his daughter, Tatter. So let me ask you this. What would you do if your parent was in the hospital, possibly dying? Would you send a legal letter, or would you pick up the phone? Drop your answer in the comments below.
Being carried along for the ride is this proposal, this suggestion that the two of them might get more and more involved with the Kardashians, partly to help Meghan's useless online store as ever, which I don't think will be here this time next Christmas, if not this time next week, the way it's going. But they want to get link up with the Kardashians, because the Kardashians are very good at marketing. And this could, we're told, involve Harry getting involved, considering an unlikely partnership with Kim Kardashian to help flog her underwear brand Skims. So do you think he's going to stand there like in commercials with just her underwear on?
There's not enough therapy in the world.
Yeah.
After I witnessed something like that, I would be I would need therapy. I don't need to see Harry in underwear. Harry has Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's body these days. Like, go look at him on the polo horse. I'm worried about the polo horse. Yeah. I don't need to see that guy in underwear. I don't care how much of a fox Meghan Markle thinks he is. But you're right, that is being reported. And when I talked to you about this, I was like, and the most shocking part of this, yes, we can see Meghan teaming up with the Kardashians. I've been saying it for years. There's pictures of Kris with Doria. There's pictures of Meghan with Kim. Yes, that collaboration could absolutely happen. And Kim is the smarter of the two. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, she
made millions of dollars from her digital game, underwear, you name it. Well, we won't talk about the you-know-what tape, although you guys have talked about nudity.
Family show, Kenzie, family show. Yeah. Kris Jenner, though, just before you, Kris Jenner is apparently very keen in return for them helping Meghan's brand to write Harry and Meghan into an episode of the Kardashians. If Harry ends up in a trashy reality TV show, that will be a sad end to his American dream, won't it? Is that why he came to the States, to end up in the Kardashians?
Look, the Kardashians are ruthless, okay? I'm telling you right now, whether Harry and Meghan want to be written into an episode of the Kardashians, they're already in an episode of the Kardashians, because the Kardashians will take advantage of all the media surrounding those pictures being removed on Instagram at Kris Jenner's birthday party. Yeah. That will be an entire episode of the Kardashians. You're right. The girls talking about it behind the scenes. And we'll actually get the real story when it airs on Hulu for the first time.
And now let's talk about the Kardashians. Yes, you heard that right. Harry and Meghan are reportedly considering teaming up with the Kardashian family. Specifically, there are rumors that Meghan might collaborate with Kim Kardashian to help promote her online store, American Riviera Orchard. In an exchange, Kris Jenner allegedly wants to write Harry and Meghan into an episode of the Kardashians. Can you imagine? Prince Harry, the son of Princess Diana, appearing on a reality TV show? It's almost too wild to believe. But here's the thing. The Kardashians are ruthless business people. They know how to monetize every opportunity. And according to Kinsey, the Kardashians are already planning to feature Harry and Meghan in an episode, whether they agree to it or not. Why? Because those photos of Meghan at Kris Jenner's birthday party, which mysteriously disappeared from Instagram, are absolute gold for the show. So here's where we stand. Harry wants his kids to visit King Charles in Britain, but Meghan doesn't want to go. Meghan is frantically announcing projects that never seem to materialize. Thomas Markle is lying in a hospital bed, heartbroken that his daughter won't speak to him. And now, Harry and Meghan might be teaming up with the Kardashians. It's a lot, and honestly, it's hard to keep track of what's real and what's just PR spin. But one thing is clear. This couple is at a crossroads. Their brand is struggling. Their Netflix content is underperforming. And the public's patience is wearing thin. So what happens next? Do they reconcile with the royal family? Do they double down on their celebrity partnerships? Or do they continue down this path of constant announcements with no follow-through? Only time will tell. So there you have it. The latest bombshell updates on Harry and Meghan. From the bickering behind closed doors about returning to Britain, to Meghan's refusal to reconcile with her dying father, to the potential Kardashian collaboration that could change everything. This story has it all. Ishnal. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. Harry and Meghan left the royal family to live a life of freedom and privacy. But instead, they've found themselves more scrutinized than ever, caught in a web of failed projects, PR disasters, and public feuds. So what's next for the Sussexes? Will Meghan ever speak to her father again? Will Harry get the armed protection he's fighting for? Will their kids ever meet King Charles? And most importantly, will they ever finish Meet Me at the Lake? We'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, this saga is far from over. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the latest Harry and Meghan drama, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss another explosive celebrity update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.